Hello everyone, my dear viewers. Today I suggest making a very tasty, simple, and quick soup with minced meat. It is called Czechoslovak soup. This country has not existed for a long time. Since 1992, we have had two separate countries. The capital of the Czech Republic is Prague, and the capital of Slovakia is Bratislava. No country named Czechoslovakia, but there is soup. Today, we will prepare it together. In vegetable oil, we fry 400 grams of minced meat. I have a mixture of pork and beef, but you can use absolutely any type. We don't need to fry it until fully cooked. We just want the minced meat to be nicely browned. Even if there is some raw meat left on top, look at how beautifully browned and juicy our absolutely perfectly minced meat is already. There are just such beautiful golden brown crusts on it. If you don't eat fried food, then of course skip this step. We transfer the minced meat to the pot. I specifically tilt the frying pan like this so that the fat drains off. We will continue to fry the vegetables in this fat, and we will transfer the minced meat like this. If you are simply bothered by any lumps, then of course break them up like this with a spatula. Originally, this soup is made without potatoes, but I wouldn't be myself if I didn't add potatoes here. I really love potatoes. I will take 2 potatoes. You can take 1 or not take any at all. I am cutting them into cubes. You can also cut the potatoes into strips if you like to slice them that way for the soup. Add potatoes to the minced meat. If you want, you can skip this step or not add potatoes at all. Pour 2 liters of boiling water here, or you can use regular room temperature water. I pour in boiling water to make it faster. We gently put it on the heat and let the soup start to boil while we deal with the other vegetables. We take 1 onion and chop it into cubes. If you constantly watch our channel, then I have always said that I do not add onion to the sauté because I do not like fried onion in soup. But today I definitely want to give the delicious fried onion another chance in the soup and try to fry it after all. And see how it turns out. If you, like me, simply don't like having onions floating in the soup, you can just cut it into small cubes and send it to boil right now. Fry until translucent. Grate 1 carrot on a large grater. Now we take a fresh, fragrant and vibrant bell pepper, about 100 grams. We cut it into cubes. Here it is quite shaped. So at first it's not very easy to cut it into cubes. But then we just have strips, and we can easily cut them for ourselves. Into beautiful, or sometimes not so visually appealing cubes. When the onion becomes transparent, we gently add the carrot and bell pepper right away, and carefully, immediately, ensuring everything is mixed well. Gently and carefully stir and fry everything together for about 5 minutes. Take approximately 350 grams of cabbage and cut it into cubes like these. If you want, you can of course simply cut it into strips like for borscht. But still, if this is already a Czechoslovak soup, then I prefer to cut the vegetables into squares to have a distinction in the cutting. I just add the cabbage immediately to the meat and potatoes and put the pot back on the heat so that the soup continues to cook. In the meantime, we are also working on frying. Now I am adding 400 grams of these tomatoes in their own juice, which are already chopped into pieces. You can take just 2 large tomatoes and either grate them or cut them into cubes. Fry everything together for another 5 minutes. If you want a deep and rich tomato flavor, you can add 1 more tablespoon of tomato paste for a more intense taste. But it needs to be placed like this in the center, fried thoroughly and properly, and only then mixed. Also, 1 more thing. If you are not adding potatoes, then add more cabbage. For spiciness, I will add garlic. I take 4 cloves. You can use a little bit less if you're not a big fan of garlic. We'll cut it into small pieces. The sauté has been cooking for about 10 minutes after I added the tomatoes. And now, let's add all of our wonderfully aromatic and fragrant sauté right into the pan here. There you go, so that not a single crumb is left in the frying pan, ensuring absolutely nothing is missed. I also add garlic. And for aroma, let's not forget 1 bay leaf. I will mix everything now. You also need to add salt to taste. My soup is so wonderful and thick. It needs to cook for another 10-15 minutes. Don't forget to add perhaps a small pinch of salt to taste, or as per your preference at this stage, and a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. Also, just to balance the acidity of the tomato, I add a small teaspoon of sugar. And we simply put it on the heat for 10-15 minutes. Look at how amazing our soup turned out. If you want it to be more liquid, I generally tend to prefer thick soups that always have a lot of vegetables and meat, such as carrots, potatoes, and chicken. For example, I have always loved hearty and thick soup since childhood. If you prefer it to be more liquid, then add more water. Also, an important point, if you feel it lacks acidity, try adding lemon juice or vinegar. Here is the absolutely wonderful, beautiful, and delicious soup we have made. A little fresh chopped parsley for aroma and a nice, vibrant color. Well, let's savor it slowly and try it quickly. Very delicious. This warmth spread throughout my body immediately. It's very convenient that this soup is made with minced meat, and we don't have to wait long for the broth to cook. This is real, homemade, very delicious food. I hope you enjoyed the recipe for this Czechoslovak soup. I tell you that it is very delicious, and I sincerely recommend you to make it. I also want to thank you for spending this time with me, for your likes, comments, and kind words. Goodbye everyone, until new tasty recipes.